Yeah.
They'll just talk shit about you.
Nah, of course. You did that one time. Fucking always out there touching shit. You fucking dickhead. It's fucking live yet.
There we go. There we go.
My podcast co-host has got the fucking black lung from working in the coal mines.
I'll try and utilize the mute button as much as needed.
All right. I have shared said podcast. I want to see how this pop filter is going to work too.
You sound poppier.
Well,
I'll say that. You do sound a little poppier.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know.
No, see now, yep, it's doing it in the broadcast, dude.
Okay, it's switching back and forth.
Yeah.
Is that annoying? I can't tell. That's annoying.
Yeah,
I think that's annoying.
I'm fucking annoyed, kind of.
Yeah, I'm annoyed watching it. All right.
It fucking give me a seizure. I mean, I'm serious, dude. Oh, shit.
I put it back to normal. Put it back to normal.
All right, well, let's hit the fucking
quit touching things.
And let's get this shit going.
How do I do that again?
It still hits hard, bro. Welcome, everybody, to episode 75 of the Slightly Above Average Gaming Podcast. I am J007 TV, joined, as always, by the homie Sub1KD. What it do, baby?
Not much. Just mentioned in the pregame lobby, enjoying the old black lung, getting a little beat up, but otherwise doing good. Had one of those kids have been off week all week. Apparently it's ski week or something or whatever. They don't apparently go to school anymore. They just have days off. But
then they extend their summer into fucking July because they had like 18 weeks off that they probably shouldn't have had.
Oh no, we go to like June, like mid-June through like the first week of August or the second week of, like we're in before August is like double digits, I think.
It seems like summer is shorter now. Like, do you remember when we were kids? Like, it felt like summer lasted like forever, bro.
Yeah, but we never had days off school. I mean, you might have had snow days, but we never, for us it was like you got like a week for spring break. I think we had like 2 weeks for Christmas, and then it was like that was it.
We got a few days for Thanksgiving, 2 weeks for Christmas, a week for spring break, and then we were done by the end of May. Like, we were done by Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So
well, my kids are out. They have a month. They have like 28 days for Christmas. It's crazy. So. Yeah, no, but they're wrapping that up. My wife, beginning of the week, decided that she wanted a pond on the property, so she and the kids got shovels and dug a pond. And I have had no part in this, and it's a pond.
Were you like one of those county workers standing there with your shovel, just watching them dig?
No, I'm just not even watching. Like that's her thing. She wants to do it. I'm like, okay, cool. I got other stuff I'm doing this week, so enjoy.
Yeah.
And they've had fun. They're happy with their pond so far.
Are they going to put like a liner in the bottom of it and stuff like that? Or
liner's in. It's holding water. So
Sweet.
They want to get fish in like lily pads or something.
Are they going to get like koi, or what are they going to get?
I don't know. I told them don't get anything expensive. Don't get anything you're attached to because we have a lot of cats.
Yeah. Hey, listen. That's what happens when you live on a fucking ranch, bro.
Yeah. I told him, my daughter's like picking out fish on the internet, and I'm like, no, don't pick the expensive ones because they ain't gonna make it. They will be lunch. Pick things that you don't mind replacing frequently.
Dude, I'm glad. Like, so my daughter had several betas. And those motherfuckers, dude,
they live forever.
No, they didn't. That was the thing. We went through like 6 or 8 of them bitches. And my wife, like, I got to tell you, when it comes to like husbandry for like reptiles and fish, and like, she's on top of it, dude. Like, damn near performing like fish surgery and shit in here. Like, it was crazy, but like, they just fucking die, dude. Like, they eat their own tails and shit like that is weird. So I'm kind of glad we're done with that, because it also, it's funny. I don't know about your kids, but my daughter especially is like, oh yeah, I'd like to have, this snake or this fish or whatever, and then never actually clean like the tank or the enclosure.
100%. 100%. That's just standard operating procedure with children.
That's the bullshit of being a parent, man. It's like you have to do all the shit. Kids don't do a damn thing.
Or they do it once. They'll do it for like a week, and then it's like, oh, I forgot. Can you do it? No. That's yours. And then they don't do it, and then you look in there, and it's like this complete disaster in a tank, and I'm like, can we not?
Right.
And so yeah. So no fish indoors for us.
Yep.
That was the rule. That's the new rule. No fish in the house. So they decided to build a pond outside the house.
It'd be frozen here
Can't
now.
argue that. Yeah, we don't get frozen that much. Like it'll freeze overnight sometimes, and we'll get like, a thin layer of ice. It'll thaw by noon. So
we got like this week we got some after wind chill negative temperatures. It was like 11 at one point when I looked at my watch or whatever, because I left to go to South Texas Tuesday.
Yeah.
And when I'm down there, I'm eating lunch with my clients, and they're like, yeah, we got some more weather blowing in. And I knew it was going to get a little cold, but then I'm like, it registered, and I'm like, well, dude, I'm not fucking sitting here all day and sitting in a hotel room when I, not being able to go out. Like if this rain freezes and there's ice on the road. So I went home, and my wife had been out in your neck of the woods, literally, the redwood forest,
a couple hours away.
Yeah. And so she left Saturday, was supposed to come home Tuesday. And how we had it timed is I would drop the kids off at school Tuesday morning. I would leave. My in-laws would pick them up in the afternoon, and then my wife would be home later that evening. Well, because of the weather elsewhere, not just here, but elsewhere, her flight was delayed several times. Then she was rerouted from San Francisco to LAX, which those flights after she got there were delayed several times. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, we'll just push it to the next day. So they pushed it to Wednesday, and it was supposed to be a morning flight. That was delayed several times. And then she finally got home about 5:30 on Wednesday. So it's a good thing I decided to come home on Tuesday, or otherwise, I can't expect like my in-laws to, do everything when it comes to that, like getting the kids to school. And, we had to have somebody here because it's cold. We have animals, we have reptiles, all that stuff. So somebody has to be here, in case the power goes out.
I get it.
We may have lost him, but anyway, so it was just kind of one of those crazy weeks. And then I'm going to be gone all week next week. Blue screened. Holy shit. Yeah, he just blue screened. So I'm going to be gone all week next week. I have to go out to the East Coast. So I won't even be able to play or really do much of anything. But yeah, appreciate all of you guys being here. He blue screened, so he's going to be firing his stuff back up. I don't know if we're actually live still or not. Yeah, it looks like we are. But anywho, what do you guys think? Put it in chat. What do you guys think of the season 2 Reloaded? We're going to talk about that a little bit later and share our thoughts, but I was just curious what you guys think. And this kind of sucks, the fucking timing of this, because in 4 minutes, I got to pull my ribs off the smoker. So you guys are going to be sitting here. It's almost like we've never podcasted before. Seriously. This is unreal. Tech issues are a bitch, guys. They really are. They really are. Last night I was streaming and I don't know what happened. So originally, when I fired up my stream and I'm trying to do my pre-stream checks, make sure my capture card is pulling through OBS, the audio works, all that stuff. Well, the capture card wasn't pulling signal through OBS for some reason. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So I ended up having to power cycle that and start it. And I got it to actually work. But then, and he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm back. Wow, that was exciting.
Yeah, I was just telling him about my stream issues last night and, how I been having issues sometimes with the audio. It's like you were saying, I almost think it's like Rode and Elgato are fucking fighting each other for priority on this system, because last night it was fucked up. I was losing Discord audio. They couldn't hear my Discord people in chat. It was just crazy. I mean, I called you. I FaceTimed you.
Yeah, no, we talked last night about it, trying to sort that out. That was kind of wild, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sorry for that. I can't tell if I have a problem with my computer is just not, I I'm like freaking pink too. What the hell? I can't tell if my computer is, I don't have the right power supply and I'm like over volting it and it's shutting down or something, but something with this camera is not, it's not behaving properly. I'll put it that way. So,
and that's the new camera that you put on a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to probably scrap that and find something better. Unfortunately, but we're back. Hopefully it won't crash again. But yeah, so no, you know, kind of been a lot like Warzone, a lot of crashes lately.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is so like,
why am I,
you know, it seems like a lot of times when these big updates come out, I'm actually on the road, so I don't really get to play for a couple days usually, and I'll get home and it's better than it was the day before, better that day than it was on launch day, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got to actually be here for that update, and like an idiot, first of all, I thought that it would automatically update. Like I thought I had it set up to automatically do that. Yeah, no, it didn't.
No.
And so it took me literally, for some reason, I don't know why, but it took me like an hour to update because it was like 38.9 gigabytes or something like that. And usually that's pretty fast. So anyway, I get to play. I played some Black Ops 6 and then I went into Warzone, but Drade came in my chat and he was like, dude, I tried for like 5 hours. I couldn't even fucking play. Silencer was having issues being able to play.
Everybody was having issues. It was not what I think we would call a successful launch 100%.
I didn't have any issues though. We maybe disconnected once, and then there's
they put a bunch of patches out over the course of the day that fixed a lot of that. But I think a lot of the people that hopped on early got into trouble with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily that some people had better luck than others. I think it was just problematic for everybody for a minute, and then they got it sorted. I think some of the big problems they sorted out in about an hour to an hour and a half after launch.
I gotta go get my ribs.
Go get your ribs,
guys. We were supposed to do this a little earlier, but Sub wasn't feeling good, and then we weren't sure if we were actually going to do an episode today. But you can tell he's feeling great again. So
yeah, feeling
here we are.
Terrific.
So it's just kind of weird timing. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, go get your ribs. So, but yeah, no, we have Black Ops 6 was season 3 was what season 2 Reloaded we're on. Another launch that was arguably they have been getting better. It is a better launch than we had for season 1. It was, more things functioned with the launch of season 1 that, wasn't necessarily the best, but we did get some content. We did get some content, and it wasn't, there's some interesting content. We have a great crossover, actually. Of all the things to have that worked really well, this crossover has been pretty good looking. I haven't been on yet. Went to bed early last night, wasn't feeling it, but gonna fire it up here probably after the podcast, to be honest. But season 2 Reloaded, just want to go over some of the highlights. I think we had obviously the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover, which is a lot. There's a lot of content, and it's not cheap either. I think there's like a weird imbalance between the content they're creating and the price they're asking to pay for it. Because they've done this before, right? They did this with King Kong initially during Caldera. They did it with King Kong. They did Last Action Hero. So they've had examples of bundles where you're spending $60, $70, $80 to have all of the items. But I think the game was in such a better state, and there was, it was on top of other content that people were willing to pay for it. I think right now there's a bit of a challenge with specifically with the fact that it's 4 bundles, and then the event itself has a paid tier. So you're not only $20 times 4, so $80 for the bundles. You're another $10 in for things. So if you want the full content, you are almost at $100, which I think is a little excessive, personally, for a franchise that has arguably not been on top for a while, right? Like this isn't. like, I know people are really excited about it, but this isn't like the Terminator, which, you know, we just had that bundle, pay to win skin. But it's not like, you know, the 80s action heroes in that way, where, you know, the franchises are beloved and we just don't see them very often. I mean, this is just kind of like, I guess there's a new movie or something coming out. I'm sure that's usually why they tie these things in, but it's just a weird collection, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of tough it's kind of a tough spot to ask everybody to be like, oh, we really want to have all of this stuff. You know, and pay out the note, you know, we'd like you to pay out the nose for it. But at the same time, it's like, it's not, I don't know. It's a weird spot. And I think the animosity comes from the fact that the game is just not in the best spot, right? You know, there's no faith in the game right now from most people. And it's, you know, even though it has been getting better, season over season, like, you know, where we are now from launch is significantly better than where we were, what, where we are now. Yeah, where we are now is significantly better than where we are when Warzone integrated with Black Ops 6. But considering how well Black Ops 6 did at launch, right, we're still a huge step back. And I think there's still a lot of things that don't work, right? There's a lot of issues that we're having. Omni movement still gets in the way of playing Warzone, for me specifically. Like, I can't wrap my head around I can't reiterate how difficult it can be to just play the damn game with the movement. Because, you know, there's nothing wrong with the movement in itself, but it's like there's a lot of compromises that are being made that I argue are not compatible with Warzone, right? Excuse me. And so things like, you know, omni movement, right? Like the whole slide, jump, prone, all of that. You know, it's all a different. It's I'm trying to fight through the mental fog today. It gets in the way of how we play Warzone, right? So, like, in Warzone specifically, like, this is like the tried and true example, right? You're on a building and you start getting hit and you need to go prone. You want to drop prone so that you don't get shot, right? So you can avoid that fire. And you don't want to be you're not prone to drop shot, right? Like you're not trying to drop shot or dodge it. You're trying to get behind cover. Get low behind cover so that you can replay, so that you can re-engage. And then the reality is, because you are moving when you are getting shot and you're trying to get to cover and you go to do that, I'm going to go to cover, you end up, you know, backwards leaping or forwards leaping off the ledge of the building, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've died because I've jumped off the building, and instead of getting, you know, and then you have to pull your chute because it's too far, so then you have to cut your chute, and then you have to go through the whole animation, right? And you hit the ground, and by the time you hit the ground, you're dead, right? Like, you are just out in the open, exposed, you know, waiting to get clocked. And that is a problem that we never had before, right? Like, when you fell off buildings before, you were teetering on the edge, looking straight down, trying to hit somebody running below you, and you just take that step too far, right? That is like the predominant, I fell off a building, right? Like, that is the falling off a building that we're all used to, instead of I'm not on the ledge, I'm not in a position where I should worry about falling off, but I have to make a quick move to get to cover, and I leap off the building, right? And it's one of those things that you don't run into that nearly as often in multiplayer. In multiplayer, right? If you take fire, you know, the act of doing an omni movement, slide or dive or whatever the case may be, you know, backwards proning, right? Like, that mechanic in multiplayer works really well because the TTKs are so short that if you can break their aim, you can usually get the kill off, and either they will be forced to take a maneuver like that or duck out of the way, or you will kill them, you know, because you've broken their aim on you. And I think it's one of those things where in Warzone, right, the mechanic is not as beneficial versus the main, you know, the multiplayer game, where being able to, you know, leap sideways or leap out of the way is a mechanic in gunfights. And I say that knowing full well that you can run into that in gunfights in Warzone, right? Like we can have that situation in Warzone too. And we have before. So, it's not that it doesn't happen, but it's just that it's not as common, I would say. So I don't know. It's one of those things, again, remains, in my opinion, a bit problematic. It remains, one of the many things that they have added to the game that holds Warzone back, that gets in the way of Warzone. It's just allocate all their. Yeah, since Jay's not here, I'm going to talk to chat for a bit. Bronson's asking, are they just allocating all their resources to Verdansk, or do you think it will be? Do you think it will just be what we have now with just a different map? I have to be very careful because reasons in answering this. The answer is it depends. I do think that the vast majority of their resources are 100% devoted to Verdansk. Their Warzone resources are 100% devoted to Verdansk. I think there are two teams working. One team is getting Verdansk ready and getting and making all the final decisions on what will come with Verdansk when it drops in March. I also think that there is a team that is very focused on rebuilding the fundamentals of the game, many of which, and this is based on leaks that we've seen from people in the community, many of these changes are not going to be available to us until Verdansk drops, because I don't believe that we're on the correct engine. I think that they have shoehorned some of these mechanics into an engine that's not suited for it, and I think that's where a lot of our problems have come. And so we're facing this kind of strange scenario where we're facing the scenario where there are not exactly people devoted to making the current game experience new and exciting. I'll put it that way. Like there's nobody left for that. Everybody's
basically duct taping this shit together, man. Trying to keep everything, just keep it operational enough to keep it afloat, and then let's pray to God everything works for Verdansk. It seems like that's the approach they're taking.
Yeah, and I have full confidence that we are not going to see that we're not going to have an experience like we've had the last few months when Verdansk comes. That's I think as much as I'm going to be willing to say on that topic, that the experience that we play right now is not indicative of what they have planned for Verdansk.
No, and I think that there are gonna be bugs and issues, like when they roll out something that big, there's going to be issues, and we do know that they are playtesting it and they are looking at feedback, which is good. But I'm fairly confident that there's going to be some kind of issues when it comes out. It's just a matter of how long it takes to fix them and how game breaking they are, really.
Yeah. Well, Jay, the topic I was delving into is kind of was what Bronson was asking, specifically allocating resources to Verdansk, or is that just what we're stuck? Is this what we're stuck with? And
sure.
I'm trying to walk the tightrope of what I can say versus things I've been exposed to.
Sure. Well, my point is that yes, I believe that they are allocating, just like you, they are allocating all those resources to Verdansk. And I guess what I was trying to say is just don't go into that with the expectation that there's not going to be broken shit when Verdansk.
Well, of course there will. Of course there will. It's Call of Duty. Nothing works every time. Nothing works the first time.
No. So, but what do you think? What do you think about like the state of it right now? Like just the actual state of Warzone right now. Like it kind of feels like it's better than it was when you can play it.
It has been playable for me actually. Since I haven't tried the Reloaded update. I didn't get on last night, but it's playable. I should take that back. I did get on. I got on Thursday night, and it actually played fine. As I think I was telling you, out of like 8 deaths, 2 of them were just blatant cheaters. One in Rebirth, one in the big map, and then everybody else was like mastery 400, and then it's like it's clear they earned it instead of just sitting there, staring at the wall for 150 hours. Sure. So it was not a pretty day. It was not fun. But mechanically, it works well enough. There's just so many things in this mode that nobody asked for. Like as I was kind of alluding to, it's like there are so many things that nobody asked for, and this, the weapons, for example. Like, why do we have to redo creating weapons? Right? Like, why did we redo that whole system? Because the system worked fine. Nobody complained about weapon making, right? Like, nobody said, "Oh, I want my weapon to be universal everywhere." Right? Nobody said that. And I have to sit there and
they don't even function the same anyway between the modes.
Well, yeah, and it's like I have to like keep track of like all my weapon builds and remember which ones I've messed with, and you can mess with the original like patterns too. So it's not even like you can go and say, "Oh, I'm going to take this blueprint and make and mess with it," right? It's like I mess with the blueprint, and then if I go like 2 months later,
and he's gone again. But to his point, yeah, like I don't know why. There we go. You're welcome back.
Yeah, but as I was saying, so many of my weapon class, like these weapons, like I had an AK in multiplayer, right? And it was a great build. It worked really well in multi for what I needed it. And I forgot about that, and I built. I took the blueprint because I liked the blueprint, and I built it for Warzone, right? For a 5 attachment build. Or I'm sorry, an 8 attachment build for Warzone. And then I went back to multiplayer, and without thinking about it, I grabbed that class, and all of a sudden my class is reset because that build became an 8 attachment build, which messed up the whole class. And so I got smoked, right? Like I didn't have my attachments the way I wanted. Overkill got revamped, and my AK actually got screwed because it was in the wrong slot. It sucked. And I'm like, why is this a thing? Why did we do this? Right. And there's just a lot of these examples, right? And I was mentioning while you were gone, the whole on movement messing with Warzone mechanics, right? Like if you want to go prone on a roof, if you aren't 100% careful, and you won't go prone on the roof, you will yeet yourself off the roof. Or worst case scenario, you will yeet yourself from behind cover out into the line of fire because you didn't go prone. You leapt to the side, right? Like there are untold examples of these things that the Treyarch team has decided that they're going to mess with, and instead of making the controller sensitivity is another one, right? Nobody complained about controller sensitivity being too hard to figure out.
They changed the fucking values to where now it is goddamn hard to figure out. You got to be a goddamn mathematician, fucking Stephen Hawking, just to figure out what the best sensitivity is.
And it doesn't fix it. It didn't fix anything, right? It's like this isn't a problem that people had. This wasn't the problem. If people are having trouble aiming, it is because they need more practice at the game, and they need to spend more time probably getting their sensitivity right. But making the sensitivity more confusing is not the answer, right? Like they're solving a problem. They're solving, in this case, the arguably not a problem, but they're making it a problem and then solving it in a really bad way. Again, that in a way that nobody asked for. And I feel like that's Treyarch's legacy with Warzone. Yeah, exactly. But I feel like that's Treyarch's legacy with Warzone. It's going to go down as they solved all the problems they didn't have.
Yeah, I can hear audio. You're frozen.
Yeah,
there you go.
Something's going weird here.
Boy, we're both having a fucking day.
Dude, I feel like sorry. I almost feel like Mercury's in retrograde or some other wooey bullshit.
But yeah, like I agree. I mean, like the other thing too is like all the blueprints. Like I wish I could separate the blueprints from my builds. You know what I mean? Like if I haven't customized it or whatever, and I have a blueprint, I'd like to be able to like at least filter that out. I don't want to have to fucking scroll down, through 30 different variants of the same fucking gun to find the build that I want.
Yeah. Like,
and if they're gonna do that, they should tell you what attachments you have on the build without making you have to click on it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like they sit there and they say, "Oh, well, you just make a copy of it before you start." I don't want to make a copy of a gun just so that I can mess around with it and decide that I don't like the work that I did. Like that is to me incredibly common. Where it's like I decided to mess with a gun, and to mess with it, I already have to create a class out of it, which is its own set of problems. But then I have to go and I have to build it up, end up not liking it, and then I have to remember to delete the damn thing instead of just moving on, right? Like it's a mess versus like Warzone 1 where you could, in fact, Warzone before this point, you add a gun, you add a blueprint, whatever it is, you mess with it, and if you in your class, and if you decide you like it, you save it. If you don't like it, you just it goes away the next time you change your weapons.
Can I say something too about like going from 5 to 8 attachments? Going to 8 attachments doesn't always make the weapon better. Like there's some that actually fucking feel worse. And even like Drade gave me a DM10 build to use, and it happened to be a gunfighter build, but he's like, yeah, don't put the 8th attachment on there. Trust me. Because the first match I had all 8 attachments on there, and the recoil was weird as shit. And he's like, yeah, take off this. I can't remember what it was. I took it off and it was different. Like it felt better. And like that cipher, the 8 attachment cipher to me doesn't feel really a whole lot better, if any, than the 5 attachment one.
There's a 6th attachment where you can catch a little bit more recoil control. So there's a little bit of horizontal on it. And I have both builds. It's fine. I run a 5 attachment build as a sniper support, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But you can, I think the sweet spot is like 6, maybe 7 attachments on it. I think there's an 8th,
No, I don't think you're faded, Silencer. It just, to me, it's like a feel thing, I guess, cause like I was using the 5 attachment one and doing just fine with it. And I put the 8 attachment one, I did build one, and it just didn't really feel like it was any better to me. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't know if maybe that was just because I was doing better with that early on in the night. Like my night took a shitty turn anyway shortly after. But, I was addressing Silencer. He said, he likes the 8 attachment cipher build. And I told him, for me, maybe it's just a feel thing, like just how it felt to me personally, because I was doing really decent with the 5 attachment one. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, and a lot of it comes down to personal preferences and play styles, right? So like you might benefit from a little bit more, there could be benefits, some of these, here's the thing, a lot of these attachments, they don't do as much, right? They don't do a whole lot. It's kind of like weapon tuning where sometimes you tune the weapon and it takes it from, it's not good to like, oh, it's perfect, right? Like you get the tunings right on everything. And all of a sudden it's like, it goes from kind of a hot mess to like, it dials it in really well. And a lot of these attachments, it's like, there are builds where I'm like, I'm just throwing an attachment on because it exists and I have a slot for it. Like, but none of the attachments in this benefit me and what I need this weapon to do in any reasonable way. It's like, especially like the lasers. Lasers are useless. Kind of a weird thing to say, but they're completely useless.
On ARs for sure. For sure.
Like the only thing you can do with the laser is you can put it into a tac stance. Like that's the only one that would be useful.
I never liked tac stance. I fucking, to me, that was pointless to bring that in. I didn't like tac stance at all. But, it's funny. I had a conversation kind of with Alex from Warzone Loadouts. He asked what SMG we were using. And I'm like, the C9 unless I pick up that red fucking Jackal. That thing it shreds, but and that's got me thinking in terms of it's almost like the first like 5 slots are recoil related, and then the other slots are going to be more of like a mobility thing. And like you said, maybe the play style makes a difference, right? Like I
Yeah.
like mobility, but I don't build my ARs for that. I build my SMGs for that because also when I'm moving, I either have my knife out or I have my SMG versus like I don't pull out my AR like that very often. So the mobility on an AR doesn't really matter as much to me.
Yeah.
But that's just preference or play style, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's definitely in it, right? You know, it's like what your preference is. I mean, you know, you remember back in the day, right? There's guys that would run the OTS9 because they can, you know, they've got the movement, they could dance all over, you know, all over everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if you took the OTS9 and you stacked it against any of the other meta SMGs at the time, right? The only advantage it had is, you know, you could dodge bullets, right? And that was the biggest advantage for that gun, right? It had lower TTK, it had a small mag, right? It wasn't a great gun on paper, but when you put it in the right hands, it, you know, people could do art with it, right? And I think that was one of the big things, you know, that was one of those things where it's like play style versus you know, mechanics, right? Like, and that and I think with the 8 attachment setup, you know, with the variety of SMGs especially that are viable right now, I think there's a lot of room for creativity in how you build, right? And we haven't had a lot of room for creativity in this game in a while, right? It's been a lot of very hard metas. The 100 round XM4, hard meta, right? If you don't use that, you are at a deliberate disadvantage, and there's no 2 ways around it. It is what it is. You know, the Jackal, right? It just killed too fast and had too much ammo, and so it didn't have the cons. It was a very, very good gun. And so the two of them together were like, they were a hard meta. Like there wasn't a lot of creativity to be competitive unless you were supplementing your personal skill against, you know, against other people. But, you know, even skill on even skill, right? Like that's when you kind of evaluate weapons, right? 2 even skilled players, if you weren't running the XM4 at range, unless you were sniping, that, you know, the exception, right? But if you're running any other automatic or semi-automatic against, you know, the 100 round, you know, XM4, you were just going to lose that fight. And so now I think they've opened that up on both the primary and secondary slots where you can run a variety of ARs. You can run a variety, you know, I've been messing around. You know what I messed around with the other day? And on paper, it actually holds up well enough. Is looking at some Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 guns, because those only have 5 attachments. So you don't have to run. You can run gunfighter, or you don't have to run gunfighter. You can run overkill and get like a full AR in a lot of ones. So the MCW is one that's got on paper is viable, right? There's a lot of SMGs that are viable, if not competitive.
I see people running the Superi. I think Tricky and maybe even Silencer run this. No, he said the KSV, but like I think I saw Tricky say he was running the Superi, and it's because of the mobility on it. Like it doesn't necessarily like have more damage per se, but the mobility from it, you get like, you know, a pretty big boost in it, I guess.
Well, so because what they did, especially on this last patch, is they removed all mobility penalties from MW2 and 3 MW2 and 3 weapons, right? So you can throw the largest mag on and you get bogged down. Because remember, when you had MW3 or when you had big mags on, right? Like that was the big thing in Warzone 2 and Warzone 3 was how much mobility got sucked out of you, right? You just couldn't keep up. And so I was looking at the what is it? Not the Superi, the Swarm. The 100 round Swarm.
Oh yeah.
There's no movement penalties on the 100 round Swarm. Like when you think about that in terms of like competitiveness and the damage profile, right? Like you're not too far off. Like I look at like the KSV and what's it called? The C9 and God, the PPSH, what a disappointment that one is.
Fucking hate that goddamn gun, dude. It's the worst in the gulag too. You can't see shit at the end of the barrel.
But the swarm up close is even with the compact, and it even at its drop off, it's not too far off. It's not too bad. It's like it's definitely viable, right? You're within, at 15 meters, you're within a couple of meters. You're within 50 milliseconds, but you got 100 damn rounds, right? Like you've got bullets for days, and everybody else is going to have to reload. And so I think that's one of those things of like it's just they've opened the door where you aren't married to the existing meta, which I think is a good thing. So they deserve the credit for what they've done with this patch of opening that door and saying we're gonna allow more weapons and older weapons to come into play.
I mean, they made like this huge ass deal about allowing Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons in the game. And I mean, like their track record has always shown, with maybe a couple of exceptions, the previous year title guns don't match up to, they're not equal to the current title guns, that are in Warzone. So if they truly are doing that, that's cool. But for me, I'm just kind of sticking to, the Black Ops 6 weapons. I don't know. Just because I'm kind of over, I already ran all those other weapons and maxed all those out and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I'm actually doing the weapon, the camo grind still over in Black Ops 6. I just got my DM10 gold.
He's got the bug.
Yeah, I got my DM10 gold. I'm starting the AE, what is that AE 973? Is that what it's called?
Something like that.
Yeah, that burst fire one. Dude, I did look though, and evidently the only weapon in that class that I didn't max out was the SWAT, and it was only a fucking level 10 because I think I started to use it and was like, nope, this is trash. I'm moving
terrible.
On. That gun
I'll tell you where it's useful. You run it in single fire in hardcore because the damage kicks up.
Yeah.
And so like that, I did that whole weapon. I just put it in hardcore because you just can't compete with any of the other meta weapons in multiplayer with that gun. It just is like a fat no.
I need to throw that full auto mod on that 973 because I have that.
Yeah, I have not touched that yet.
I've seen people using it, and I've been deleted by it a few times. Over the last, since it came out or whatever, which, I think that's cool. And I wonder if that's not a way for them to try to make those weapons viable in Warzone at some point.
It's gotta be, because to be honest, they're just like the burst weapons they're just bad. Like they're not good this year.
Mm-mm. Well, and they've had a history of being OP too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I take that back. They're not good in Warzone. They're the AEK is a lot of fun.
It's AEK. That's right. That's the one.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun in multiplayer. I loved doing that one like that. I will say this: this is the problem. This is the problem with doing the camo grind. Is that the fun guns, the guns that are enjoyable to use, you blow through those like that. Like I got the AEK gold in like an hour and change. Like I just rolled through lobbies with that thing, having a blast, right? And it was like, all right, on to the next one. And then I would then suffer through like the SWAT or like whatever else was out there.
Yeah,
and it was like, that's the biggest downside of like doing the camo grind. Is like when you're rolling and you're having fun. Like when I did the shotguns, it was like, R.I.P. this lobby. And then, I would get off the shotguns and like roll over to like snipers or something. And it was like, oh my God, this is tedious and frustrating.
See, I think that you have the right mindset for being a camo grinder, and I don't. And here's what happens. And this is why some of these guns take me a little bit longer, is because I start scoreboard watching, and if I see that we're like, that we're losing or something like that, I'll fucking switch up. Like I have 3 classes that are built that I have at the very bottom. I've got an M4 class, a C9 class, and I have a LR762 class that I use, that I'll go to. So I'll hop off whatever gun I'm grinding, or if I get in the hole too much, like kills wise, and I've died so many times, like I'm like, fuck this, I gotta, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I'll switch weapons, and that's probably why it's taking me a little longer on some of these. Like the compact took me a while to get that one gold. That one took like a long time. That one and the fucking Tonto. Holy shit, dude! Is there a worse gun in this game right now? Like it legitimately. Like, have you picked up any ground loot one in Warzone and tried to fight with it?
Well, they got rid of a lot of the dumb ones. So, I mean, the Tonto is actually not terrible at like the long short range, right? Like if I'm inside 10 meters, it's forget it. Like you're gonna get smoked. You miss one bullet and you're just toast.
I think I had one the other day where I actually was hitting shots with it, but I still lost a fight to the starter pistol. Now, I don't know if maybe they were hitting more critical shots than me or whatever, but like to me, that fire rate's not really good for an SMG. And I know that binary trigger is supposed to help, but when you pick it up off the ground, you don't really, and I'm not going to build a fucking Tonto class for Warzone. No way.
No, there's no point in building a Tonto class. Yeah. But, it's like, I don't know. It's better that you shouldn't get smoked. If you got smoked with a starter pistol, it
was probably a skill issue.
I'd keep that to myself personally.
I don't fucking care. Everybody thinks I'm a fucking burger anyway. Who cares?
But yeah, I don't know. I give like the Tano. Yeah, it's not my favorite. In multiplayer, it's not terrible. But I think I ended up doing a lot of that in hardcore just because of the, you hit them once or twice and you're good. But like in multiplayer, yeah, it's like the problem with the Tonto is I think it's like a 3-shot to kill in multi. But 3 shots with the Tonto is enough time for someone to spin around and one tap you with the Marine SP. And so it's kind of like, well, fuck. Forget it.
Yeah, I think after I finish the marksman, I'm going to go to my sniper. I'll start sniping again, and try to get those gold. And then I'll probably go to the shotties, because I think I do want to try to go for Dark Spine or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
At some point.
It's a great looking camo.
I still have to work on the Fang. I have not worked on that at all. I have not worked on the new basically the FAL. I haven't worked on that at all.
Touched it.
I have it, but I just haven't, because I've been trying to when I have played Black Ops, I've been trying to camo grind a little bit. And dude, I gotta tell you, I tried to play fucking ranked yesterday. Holy shit! I haven't played ranked. Huh?
I'm not touching that till Verdansk comes.
Well,
there's 25 days left. Like, it's
ranked
not worth it.
Multiplayer. They asked me to play. They needed a 4th, so I tried to play that. And I played with Jigsy when ranked first came out for Black Ops 6. Like early on, we played a few times, and it was okay. But I didn't really touch that much of it. But I tried to play last night after not having played multi much over the last week. The first fucking match, dude, I was already ready to just say fuck this and quit, dude. I was getting shit on. But in fairness, I'm bronze 2 in ranked there, because I haven't really played it. Jigsy's diamond, so we were in diamond 2 and 3 lobbies, dude. We had a 3-stack of diamond and a platinum we were going against, and I could not fucking move anywhere, dude. Those dudes know the crosses, everything.
I have just zero interest in, part of it is because there's nothing fun. Like, Warzone or Modern Warfare Ranked is business. It is straight business, and you need to be on your game 100% of the time. Like it's not even close. And it's like I don't play multiplayer to be on my game. If anything, I play multiplayer to just fuck around, right? Like that's what I want to do, right? I'm done my camo grinding. I'm probably not gonna grind anything else. I have to say it's such a letdown to not have like a mastery camo like unlock at the end of the day. Like to have to like grind each fucking one. Like that was the biggest letdown, I'll say. It's like, yeah, you get a calling card when you get 33, but it's like there was something cool in the last couple of games about like you hit the camo, like you hit it and it's like boom, you have access to it on your guns. Like you are set, right? Like it I don't know. The way of doing it was just great, I thought.
So one of the rewards for ranked this year or this season is like weapon camos. Dude, the one for diamond is fucking sweet, dude. That shit it's dope, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, the weapon camos you get for ranked, but I don't know if that transfers over to, because it was an operator last season, and I don't know if that transfers to Warzone too, or also.
Well, anything you unlock anything you unlock right now through ranked and whatever will go between the games.
No, what I mean by that is like for the rewards for Warzone versus the rewards for multiplayer ranked. Like, what's the like? Is it a different camo? Like, I haven't looked at that really. I probably should. I should know that. I have a fucking podcast where we talk about this game for 2 hours, and I don't even know that.
Well, I mean, it's not as bad as not knowing that they were putting out the mid-season update.
I knew you were going to bring that up, dude. Dude. So for y'all who don't know, I told Sub One that I thought the title of our podcast this week should be Bro, Do You Even Podcast? And the reason why is because I didn't know when the season 2 reloaded thing was going to come out. And then Tuesday, I drove 4 hours one way, had lunch, and drove 4 hours back. So I was literally in the car, not checking like social media or anything. I had no fucking idea when season 2 reloaded was. Like, what the fuck? I missed all of those posts. I mean, I saw like some previews of like the Ninja Turtles and shit like that, but like I don't think I ever saw a post that said, "Hey, season 2 reloaded Thursday," or whatever day it was that it came out. Like I never saw that. So I felt like such a moron. And then I'm sitting here for an hour trying to download 38.9 gigabytes,
And you're like, what is happening? Why is it taking so long?
I'm just a fail.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I feel like this snuck up on us, right? Like I didn't see anything until like Tuesday, just from like from an information standpoint, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it was just like,
they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We'll just throw it out there. And season 3 is where it's at, bitches.
Pretty much. I mean, that straight up is how it feels. Like they're just like, season 3 is coming and everything else is just filler. And you know what? They literally told us they were doing that at the end of the day. Like that's what they told us they were going to do. So I don't know why we're surprised.
Yeah, no, they did. They did tell us. And you know what else? The other thing about like that they're starting to do again that's kind of pissing me off, and I know it pisses some people off too, is they're fucking with the playlists again. Like, why can't we have solo, duo, trio, quads, and ranked for both, Warzone, BR, and Resurgence? Why?
Because nobody's playing the game.
I don't care, man. They have got to stop stop with this whole time to match BS. Like, I don't care
if they don't funnel everybody into a few chosen modes, they can't turn on their SBMM.
Yeah, that might be true. And boy, I tell you what, we had a couple really good days, and then not last night or the night before, but I think the day before that, dude, that shit came back to get us, man. It was fucking terrible. Like I could totally tell a difference between one day to the next and what the lobbies were like. And it's like, you do well, you get punished kind of thing. But like, no, like I don't understand like the time to match. I don't care if I have to wait just a little bit long. Like the time to match is already longer than it's been in a long time anyway. Yeah, have you noticed it takes a longer time to get into the matches,
I mean,
especially ranked?
I am just look. This game is in stasis mode, right? It is not. It is not. It is certainly not in the perception of being in a good spot right now, and it is definitely not seeing the player base like the non. It's definitely not seeing the player base like flourish the way that it did when BO6 dropped. Like when BO6 dropped, I and look, I will be clear. I feel so burned right now by Treyarch for how they've treated Warzone. I was, if you recall, I was super hyped. I was excited for how Warzone was going to land when it came. I thought based on how they, I was not optimistic for how Black Ops 6 was going to go. And I was like, you know what? The Omni movement's going to turn it into like, it's going to be like the jetpack era where it's like everyone's going to be on skates, everyone's going to be flying around. There's not going to be, if you're not a top tier player, you're going to be just cannon fodder for everybody else, was kind of my expectation. We got the beta and I was like, holy crap, it's actually fun. It's actually enjoyable. And then all of a sudden, then they launched and it was like, it was great. It was a great experience. I was like, and I remember I told my buddy, I'm like, hey, I am optimistic. I think Warzone's going to be actually a lot of fun with all this stuff in it. And it wasn't. And and whether it be because they changed course late and decided to switch to Verdansk off of Avalon, or whether it's, a issue with, just the mechanics don't mesh well with Warzone, which, I talked about at the top of the episode. It just was a huge letdown. Huge letdown. And, I think that is the sentiment that a lot of folks have. Like a lot of people are just not happy with Warzone. And part of it, I'm sure, is because we're still on Urzikstan. In fact, we're on Urzikstan 1.0, right? Like we have so overplayed this map.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a decent time at it. I mean, I'd like to win a little more. We've been getting really close, but overall, I'm having a decent time at it. But I mean, like, the integration didn't go well, but this is kind of part of the thing we've discussed several times too. This is what happens when you tie the yearly title into Warzone. You let it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it should definitely be its own thing. And I agree with you that Black Ops 6 is, I still have fun playing that game. Like I don't have any major issues when I pull up and play that game. It just so, and I try to play it most days, unless I start late, a couple hours a day at least, or unless I'm just kind of feeling like moving to Warzone for no particular reason. But like I enjoy the multiplayer side of it, and it sucks that the state of Warzone is kind of being like more or less blamed on Black Ops 6, because actually, I don't know if you saw this, but you see that Black Ops 6 was #1 again last month in sales, which I know like there's shitty games, other shitty games.
What else is there to play? Especially on console. On console, like, what is there to play? Like, if you like hero shooters, I mean, I guess you could play Marvels, but even that's like running into trouble. They've just fired half their staff, which seems to be related to the Chinese overlords over there are really unhappy with the developers that they hired here, so they shut the whole studio down and fired them all.
Yeah, they should fucking know better what they're gonna get. Well, I mean, they spy on everybody anyway. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, you don't know they think a certain way about certain things. Like, stop it.
Yeah, well, but, so, I mean, like, all right, Marvels has no interest in me. I just look at the game, I'm like, it's not, like, the hero shooter, like, that hero fantasy shooter, like, it's like Overwatch is the same thing. It's like, and to a degree, Apex kind of falls into that, but Apex is a little more Warzone-esque. I guess BR-esque, I guess, but it's like I don't want to have to memorize 75 different characters and what each one character can do, and then have to calculate when I see one on the map. All right, I have to remember, here's their special ability. What are they going to be able to do to me? Do I have the right counter for that? Should I avoid that fight? Do I have to like do this? Where's my healer? Who's that? Are they playing the game right? Do we even have one? Right? And it's like, it's too much.
I get
it's too
that.
much.
And you know what? I get that, and I've played a decent amount of Marvel Rivals and Delta Force, which does have abilities too. But I will say this though: Call of Duty is in a spot right now for me personally. I know it may not be for everyone else, but like Black Ops 6 and Warzone are good enough to keep me wanting to play that game, and not play those other games. Like I like those other games. I'm not playing them because I don't like them. I'm enjoying my time playing Call of Duty enough to where I don't really care if I play anything else or not right now.
Yeah.
Like the game doesn't have me in that headspace to where I'm like, fuck this game. I need to play some golf or baseball or Madden or whatever the fuck. Like I'm not there. I don't know if I will get there this year. I don't know.
Well, I've had the problem, so I've had the problem where Warzone just has not worked for me, right? Until recently. Yeah. It hasn't worked. So I just went and just locked in, camo grinding. That's all I'm doing. I don't need to mess with anything else. I'll fart around on Warzone's, other modes. And now I'm running into the fact that I'm flipping out of practice in Warzone, right? Like I can't play Warzone. I've been playing multiplayer so much that I'm locked in on like how to run multiplayer.
It's different mindsets too.
And I'm getting into Warzone and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember how to play this game. Like it's been that hard to like switch back. And it's like, so I'm already like, I've been going into games like I'm gonna get into these gunfights and I'm like, fuck, you're not dead after 5 bullets. Like I'm screwed.
Yeah.
It's like I can't charge in and like surprise a team of 2 and get them both before they can get turn on me, because it takes a lot longer to get a kill in Warzone. So it's like, I was playing Rebirth the other night with my buddy, and it was like he had an issue offline that he had to did one of those put the controllers down to deal with it, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna chill here and like hang out. And it was like it ended up being the best game that we had, because like nobody came across us on purpose. We were just kind of out of the way in prison, in like the side corridor on prison. And like nobody came through there. And so he was like just sitting there. So I just set up a trap near him, and just people would come in. They'd see somebody proned out looking at the wall, and they'd be like coming in to mock them, and they'd hit my spring mine, or they'd hit whatever I put down. And then I'd shoot them and be like, and then they didn't come back. And it was like, it was the best game I had all night, because, I just sat there and did nothing.
We've been doing the opposite, actually, especially playing duos. Like I played with Money the other night, and we just ran contracts and got money, and we were popping and pushing.
Money got money.
Yeah, we were popping and pushing everything. And I'll tell you, being able to play fast like that, I think I've hit double digits like 3 or 4 times in the last few days because of it. Yeah. Like being able to play fast like that. Like, and it depends on who you're playing with. It really does. Like you can't play like that with everyone that you play with. You just can't.
No.
And I'm not a good enough player to force people to play that way and be able to carry often. I can do it sometimes, but not consistently. So it's like, I have to slow down too, and just play the way others want to play. But it's been fun playing that way. I also switched to you ever use those impact grenades?
Sometimes.
Those are cool.
I still prefer throwing knives, because I want to just I don't want to have to spend another magazine to get the kill, or waste my time trying to like beat them down. Although I did have a really fun one. I went to go beat somebody down, and he rotated as I got to him, so I actually put him in a meat shield, and his buddy came around the corner, and like he put, it was one of those things where the meat shield did what it's supposed to do, right? Like his buddy ate all the shots. I downed that other guy, and then executed his buddy, and then the other guy died off because it was duos. But it was a good one. It's like moments like that. There aren't enough moments like that in the game as much.
I think there will be. I had a guy let me fucking do a self-res right in front of him. I knocked his buddy. Actually, no, I think I full killed his buddy. And he knocked me, and he let me self-res right in front of him, and then I killed him immediately. And on one hand, I'm like, oh, you got shit on. But on the other hand, thinking about it, I think he was probably looking to see if there were other teammates around and trying not to be thirsty.
It's the throwing knives.
Yeah.
Down. Thump. Moving on.
Yeah.
I think that's still a great, one of the great things to carry, especially if you're playing at a faster clip, right? Just having it, because I've had too many times where it's like, there's multiples. I'm fighting them. I get someone down. I leave them there. I turn to go fight somebody else because I'm just immediately engaged, right? Or I'm immediately, I gotta play. I gotta do stuff to get ready for the next guy coming around the corner, and I can't I can't worry about him, right? And so it's like if I'm not running throwing knives, it's kind of like it nags in the back of my head, and I've died more times because I either take the time to finish him and then I get jumped on, or I don't finish him and I do what I'm supposed to do and turn and fight his buddy who's coming, and then he gets the self off and I don't hear it because that is broken.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of a few things that are broken, and and I've gotten myself into trouble being too thirsty, right? Like trying to get my finish instead of looking for the other one when I clearly could have wiped out, you know what I mean? I could have gotten more than one kill. But I'm like, and a lot of that I think probably just depends on like how the games have been going for me. Like if I have a fucking 5 or 6 death game, like in one kill, like 2 matches before, I'm fucking thirsty.
I'm getting my kill,
everybody.
man. I'm getting this kill.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But yeah, it's been fun playing. I don't like playing trio quads. I've kind of gotten to a point where I don't really like that. Because that's what we're having to do. We did get a win doing it.
Who was I playing with? I was playing with somebody, and we ended up trio quadding in and took on a rando. Oh my god, this guy was like paint licking. Like it's like he just like graduated boot camp. He's just sitting there like there's this one case where this dude is. We were over the fire station on the hill to kind of like the radar tower on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that fire station like southwest of it, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy in one of those buildings, and it was that weird building that has it's like a 2 or 3 level building, but the top level, there's not really a way into it. You have to go up the stairs on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy in there, and I couldn't find him, and I was messing around in the building. I was trying to get him to come out, and he wouldn't come out. And like I peeked the stairs, and he just insta deleted me. And I was kind of pissed about that. And my teammate, right? Like I had him cracked. If my rando had been there, he probably could have gotten the down before I got thirsted. But he was outside the building, crouch walking around the corner, just crouch, crouch, crouch. Crouch. I'm sneaking around and no one knows I'm here, despite the fact that there's been 3 UAVs on the map in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, I need to tell you about that. So I was running from a team the other day. I was the last one alive. I was running from a team. And I end up over by the YMCA, and I like kind of got up against the wall, and I'm laying there plating and doing everything else. And I hear the dude jumps over and kills me. My initial reaction was, and I specifically said, and I quote, "This motherfucker is cheating." So somebody had clipped that, and I go back and look at the clip. Yeah, there's a fucking UAV up, and I didn't have Ghost on.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah,
but I'm still struggling with directionality on things. Still, I really hope that gets fixed next season, man.
Yeah, they I don't know. But anyways, it's been fun. I had one. I'll probably clip it and put it up. But it was like me and a buddy were fighting a team on the roof, and so I mean he did a bunch of the work, but he charged in there and got himself killed. And I was late to the I was coming up from the ground. This was that what is it, it's not the resort, it's the hotel, like that, the hotel with that courtyard in the middle of it. There's a buy station down there. Mm-hmm. Kind of south of that radar tower. And I just remember, so I'm late to the party, and it was another one of those things where the meat shield came in handy because I slid in, came sprinting across, slid in. He was they were by the door onto the roof. So there's that there's the kind of room. There's another layer another level on top of the roof on that building. So they were right in front of that behind the air conditioning unit. I come sliding in, gun one of them, and I am like out of bullets. And I do one of those things where I like run back and forth and like I slide past him and I go to, I'm like, I'm going to melee you because I'm out of everything, right? I did not pay attention to my ammo capacity before I got into that gunfight. And it's just one of those timing wise, right? He turns, I'm trying to melee him and I just get him into a body shield. And then I do the only thing that a reasonable, responsible player will do is I walk over to the guy that I downed and I just like hump him in front of the like on that guy. Yeah,
you did it. We did somebody the other day too.
Until they both quit out. I just went. Oh, it's great.
We had a guy last night. One of our guys dropped and we didn't realize it, so it filled our squad with a rando. And so we're in the pregame lobby and I hear mic check, and I'm like, hey, shut the hell up. You know, like just talking shit to him. No, it gets better. And so I'm like, hey, shut the hell up. And then I look and I realized, oh shit, somebody, I think it was like Jigsy, disconnected or whatever. This guy's on our team. And I was like,
and you're talking shit to him.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, your mic works. And then I wasn't in game chat. I'm like, hey, do you want to leave so we can pick up fucking so stuff? So all three of us just fucking dipped while the plane's in the air. This motherfucker had to go play that match by himself.
Oh, I'd be pissed. Yeah. But
it's pubs. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that one, it was so funny. That one, the game that I talked about where it was like the rando crouch walking. My buddy was like switching between Discord and game chat and was just fucking ripping on him. Like, why don't you just get the heartbeat sensor out? There's a bush in front of you. There could be somebody in the bush. Just get your heartbeat sensor out. And the guy did once.
That's hilarious.
Like, why am I with these people? Like, why game? Like, I'm not good enough to carry everybody all the time. Like, you got to give me like a teammate that doesn't suck one day, someday. That way, like, you know, I can actually have some fun and not have to try and carry everybody and constantly be trying to win it. Anywho, yeah, we're at the Reloaded. What do you think of the list of changes to Warzone?
Let me pull it up. I wasn't sure we were there yet.
Oh, shit. It just started playing music because that's what I wanted in the game.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, what are your thoughts so far on it?
I mean, I think the crossover is super interesting. I think it's got some really good options and opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got to get, a lot of the bullshit sorted. I mean, at the end of the day, Verdansk has to drop. I think the Ninja Turtles thing is cool. It's way expensive for the state of the game. I don't particularly feel like buying all of that.
I bought Raphael. I said, fuck it. That was my favorite Ninja Turtle growing up, so I bought it.
Yeah. I mean, I might buy Leonardo. We'll see.
And then I proceeded to get in trouble with the wife because I guess she had a gift card in Amazon, and I was fucking around late the other night, and I'm like, I want to watch the original Ninja Turtles movie. You know, the one that came out when we were kids? Yeah, I bought that using her fucking gift card. I didn't even know that was an option.
Oops.
Yeah.
I saw that on VHS somewhere. I gotta find it.
Yeah, wow, VHS. But
Be kind, rewind.
So as far as like the weapons go, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how they play out in the field, right? Like nothing here really sparks my interest. The funny thing is though, is about like the Mountaineer adjustment. Did you see J God's video?
Yeah.
It's not even worth running, dude. I'm never gonna choose that over Survivor. Survivor is my favorite perk right now. That Resolute.
Yeah, Survivor's good. Like I got again, it's let's fix something no one's complaining about. Right? Like yeah. Why mess with Mountaineer? Mountaineer was great. It served its purpose. It had a really good reason to exist. It was beneficial. And I'll tell you where Mountaineer would really come in handy is when you are on a rooftop and you have to prone to avoid a gunfight and you yeet yourself off the roof of the building. It would be nice not to die. It would be nice not to have to pull my chute to survive, because when you do that, then you're stuck in the animation, and then you get killed by your teammate or by the enemies that you were trying to duck from. So like, it's like, let's avoid that. Mm-hmm. But no, we can't do that. We have to deal with this nonsense. So yeah, they kind of tanked Mountaineer, which, I mean, I guess it is what it is. The the loadout change, that was a quick fix.
Oh yeah,
they corrected that real fast.
Well, I didn't see that being abused in BR, like the BR part of it. It was Resurgence where that shit was being abused, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's my understanding as well. But it's kind of like, the number of people who set that up and were able to successfully do that repeatedly, I think is low. And like, again, I cannot find one time on my timeline that somebody complained about that. Can you? Do you remember hearing that at all?
No.
It's a problem that didn't exist, right? It wasn't a problem. It's something that wasn't a problem until they decided that they didn't like it. And the reality is it was almost certainly that they just didn't like that somebody like that. They didn't like that people could do that. Like, at the end of the day.
Well, it probably wasn't what was intended when they put in those weapon trade stations and all that. Like,
again, a feature nobody asked for.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, is that so? Like, I don't play Resurgence, so I mean, is that like a big deal over there? Like, do Resurgence players like that, or
again, the usage of that can't be very high. I think maybe in, I don't know, 1,000 games that I've played on Resurgence since those things came out, I've used them 10, 15 times, 20 maybe.
Interesting. Well, and this whole thing kind of points me to something that I really wish that moving forward they would fucking stop. Just because something is broken in one mode, that doesn't mean you have to make these sweeping changes that affect it in other modes. You know what I mean? Like they did with sniping back when it was a big deal in Resurgence, so they fucking bricked it in Warzone for 2 years, then not being able to go back to a loadout, especially on a map like Urzikstan, where it's already hard to regain as it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Regaining is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So a lot of times, like when you come back, it's just a free fucking kill for somebody, especially if they had left that change in there where you can't go get your load out.
Well, and on top of that, right? Like who's this going to affect negatively? Like the most, it's going to affect the bad players the most. Like the lower skilled players are going to feel this the most because they die the most, right? Like if you're a low skill player, by definition, you die more than you win in gunfights. Like that, the very definition of being not good at the game,
true.
Right? And so you need to regain more than a high skilled player, right? So the inability, and again, like in Resurgence specifically, but in Urzikstan too, where when you die, like if you come back immediately, your shit is not safe. You can't drop on your shit most of the time. Because they're still there,
and
right?
It fucking disappears anyway, even if
eventually,
even if they're not there.
But it's like you drop on your shit, you get killed, you come back. Guess what? Your shit's probably gone, or it got picked up by somebody. The guy that killed you probably picked your shit up if it was any good.
Dude, you know what I used to do? I would fucking drop mine. I would pick up their guns and go hide them in a bush somewhere just to be petty. And then I'd go pick my own shit up.
You would do that.
Fuck yeah, dude. It's a character flaw. I can't help it.
I don't think there's any flaw in that. I think that's brilliant.
I mean, but you know what? I'd go do that shit, dude. Like, fuck them. They're not getting their shit if they come back here. I mean, now it's like if I see blast traps or mines, I'll fucking pick those up and drop them in the middle of their shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, or on the loadout, or on like if I can, I'll throw them on their loadouts or buy stations. I got another one of those the other day. I left 2 mines on the loadout and left, and a minute later, ding, kill.
I mean, it sucks to be on the receiving end, but it's funny as hell when somebody on your teammate, you get a fucking
so great.
Something in the kill feed when you're all the way on the other side of the map now.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, I left that there. My favorite is when it's like the gas comes, right? And so it's like it's somebody who's like making a last ditch effort to buy their guys back, and it's like dead.
They're like, come on, guys, I'm gonna save the day. Let's go, guys.
I've got $9,000. I'm gonna bring you guys back. We're gonna win this thing, and back to the lobby.
Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't have been able to fucking regain anyway, but yeah.
But yeah, no, they've done. I think the changes we talked about this a little bit. The weapon changes to MW2 and 3 guns. I think they made some good changes with that. Removed damage range penalties on a lot of the ammo mods. Removed speed penalties and handling penalties on the mags. Which again, prior to this, people called it delay zone for a freaking reason, right? Like everything was slow. Everything, and that was Modern Warfare 3 Warzone gets a lot of credit for a lot of stuff, but they retained the whole like we're gonna stay slow, we're gonna have everything will delay you.
All they did was just speed it up where you could run fucking faster and you could slide and shoot. That was essentially what they did. That was the big
change, right? But all the mechanics were still delayed, and I think that I will say this with Treyarch, they have done a good job of speeding that up, right? And you and I have both kind of said this off and on, but the problem with Warzone 2, the biggest problem at the end of the day was how much delays existed on everything you did. If they had cut rid of the delays and they made the game smoother, I think the game would have played a lot better and people would have been more open to some of the they would have been more open to the game as a whole because it didn't feel like you were playing in a pool of mud. Right. But it was like, the ability to cut your shoot, land on the roof next to somebody and immediately be in a gunfight. Like it just has not been a thing. And that stuff needs to be default. It needs to be the default.
Yeah. You need to be able to do shit quickly, man.
But yeah, they retooled the weapons. The weapons are good. I don't have a problem with the weapons. I haven't tried the new maps. I hear the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles map is pretty dope.
Grind, I mean, it's an old map. They just recycled it.
Well, yeah, but they can always ruin maps. They've done that before.
Yeah, no, I liked that map when when it was in the other games. I can't remember which game it started in or not. It might have been Black Ops 4. I don't know. But it was a cool map.
They fixed the issue where like if you killed a player, and they got killed again, like you would get another kill and the other person wouldn't get a kill. Like that was a thing, if you remember that. I don't know if you noticed that. But like you kill somebody and they come back and you fight them again. Mm-hmm. Like you would get the kill no matter who actually did the kill. So like there have been a couple of games where it's like I would get a free kill and I'm like, where did that come from? And it turns out my teammate damaged. And like you didn't even have to kill them; you could damage them, and then they would die somewhere, and like that kill would come back to me. It was weird. There's a lot of weird.
I think that this game, like Warzone, like the last 2 or 3 years, has been wildly inconsistent on how they credit kills anyway. Like, because there's been some games where like I'd do 250 out of 300 damage and not get the kill. But then other times I'll do 50 out of the 300 and get the kill. And I'm like, fucking,
it's been very consistent. It's a weird way that they handle it because it's all about the last 30 damage. I think it's 30 or 35. I'm going to call it 30, but I'll check the actual number later. But basically like, so out of, it's 30. It's the last 30 damage out of 300 health, right? So if you do 270 damage and somebody else does 30 damage, right? They get the kill because they did the last 30 damage. But if you do 271, right? Then it becomes, the majority of damage and nobody gets the last 30 damage. So it goes to majority. So you get the kill. But if if like nobody has a majority of damage, like if multiple people get them into the last 30 and you fight over the last 30, then it's last bullet.
Dude, I got a kill in Al Mazrah ranked one time. Fucking one damage, one kill. Like I legit,
Mhm.
my guys were fighting, and I come around the building to come in and help, and literally with a pistol, boom, and I got the kill for it. I was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, and that would have been because nobody hit 271, and
Right.
then the last 30 was split between multiple people, and so it was it awarded that way. It's a thing where it's like you can understand it, and it's still stupid, right? It's still
Yeah.
frustrating because you have all of these edge cases, and I will say that it is the one thing. It is probably the one reason why the elim system is better in Warzone than the kill system for most players, because you at least get like that credit for doing 270 damage, and your idiot buddy comes over and steals it with one shot and takes, and doesn't, and takes the official kill.
Well, I don't even look. I mean, when I look at the scoreboard after the match, I don't give a fuck. Like, really, I care more about the kills and the deaths than I do the elims.
And granted, a lot of bad players use that to like inflate their, they'll do 20 damage and be like, oh, I got my elim. I'm
Yeah,
doing good on
like
my
I don't really
elims.
care about that, and it's not the same anyway. The last time I saw, so like I think we talked about this before, but like when you could see like the API and get on the websites, like
Mhm.
for at Cold War, I could see like my elim rate was like X, and my kill rate, like my actual kill death, was like Y. Like it was off by like 0.15 or some shit
Yeah.
like that. So I'm just kind of, as a general rule, whatever my elim rate says now, I know my actual KD is less than that. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna I don't really care about that much anyway.
Yeah.
Anymore. But
It's just frustrating. It's been frustrating for me because some of the people I used to play with loved to turn around and jump late into a gunfight and walk off with that. that last shot, right? And it's kind of like, it's one of those things of like, it depends on who you are and who you play with. A lot of folks I know, are very, very efficient at getting kills, so they don't run into that problem a lot.
Yep.
And it's one of the things where I think Warzone Ranked does really well, where it's like, your SR is based on whether or not you're contributing to the kill. And, having gotten rid of taps, I think is good. Because it doesn't encourage that as much. But they've definitely changed, it's kind of like, everybody who's contributing to the kill gets rewarded appropriately. And I feel like on the scoreboard, on the traditional scoreboard, that doesn't hold up as much as it, when it's like everything is focused on getting that kill, right? It's like not everybody's been there, but I've been there more often than I care to admit, where I've got like 3,000-4,000 damage and like 2 kills, and my teammate will have like 900 damage and like 6, and they're like, I don't know what the problem is. It's like, you're the problem. You are what the problem is. You didn't earn that shit. It's like stolen valor right there.
Money's out here fucking texting me. He's like, why are you lying? You know you care about the eliminations. No, I care about the fucking kill. The actual kill. That's the shit I care about. The elims, okay, whatever. Like, I know it's either an assist or a kill or both. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I care about the kill and how many times I'm dying in a match. Those are the two things that are important to me.
Yeah. And it's like, definitely need to have, yeah, I don't know. It's not an easy. It's not a one shop solution, right? There's not an easy like, oh, here's the problem, we'll just fix it.
Mm-hmm.
It just, is what it is. But yeah, otherwise the season, it's brought a lot of fixes to a lot of stuff that, I mean, honestly, should never have been problems. They should have been on top of that. But a lot of stability fixes.
Yeah.
My stability has actually been dramatically improved in the last week or two, I would say. So I guess good W on that. And
nerf and gas grenades.
Oh yeah, God. I was gonna mention that. Nerf the gas grenades. That was a big nerf to them too. I haven't run into as many gas grenades since since that day, versus like run into them every fucking match.
Dude, they're pretty bad, bro. Like, I mean, people are still using them like they were last night. They were still using them a little bit, but yeah, like before it would like stun you, make you not be able to see, and you can't fucking move. So it may as well have just fucking killed you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna get you killed anyway, But yeah, so I'm glad they adjusted that, man. And it looks like they also did like buffed a bunch of the ammo types from Modern Warfare 2 and 3.
Yeah, well, that they removed the penalties for a lot of them, so they went through and it's like they took out where was the part of it? Yeah, they took out the damage range and bullet velocity penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the recoil penalties that they brought in.
Well, look at that high velo ammo. Like, they buffed that. Like, so from 20 to 25%, that's a 5% increase, dude. That's a decent amount. Then you got to, yeah.
I mean, just trying to make them relevant, which I think is a good thing at the end of the day, because as long as we have to deal with these guns in the game, we might as well be able to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it opens the door at least to look at some of these guns, and that's kind of the problem, right? That was the problem that we had in last year, right? Where a lot of guns were decent enough on paper. Like, we could have run some more Modern Warfare 2 guns in Modern Warfare 3 Warzone, but you didn't have the stability in the gun, right? So it just, everything shook. There was so much visual recoil that there was no point in running them, because it was just unpleasant at best, and if not, just completely miserable to use. And so they've been gradually stripping that away, because thank the Lord somebody realized that was a terrible way of balancing weapons and a bad mechanic. Thank the maker, right? But that's the thing. Like, they figured that out after only everybody screaming that at them for 2 years.
Dude, you know what else? And I know why they did this. They did this because of this fucking bundle that they're selling. But did you see they increased the lunge distance for melees?
Yeah, because melees are terrible.
They should be. It's a gun game.
No, it's then take them out.
Dude,
don't make them terrible. Stop putting terrible things in the game just to fluff up the number of weapons.
It doesn't have to be terrible, but Jesus Christ, you should not be able to lunge through half a magazine.
It's not usable. Like, you have to, like, you play multiplayer, you run around, especially you'll see it on small maps, because it's, trying to use melees on big maps is kind of dumb. But on the smaller maps, like, people would just hide around corners with their melee, because if they have to actually like run you down and fight you, they're just going to die, right? They're going to take one shotgun blast to the face, or a quick scope to the face, or even, get shot a bunch. And they won't, and especially on the 2-hit melees, like the, or the slow cleaver, like the only melee that's worth running, that's not horrible, like a terrible experience, is the damn knife. Like, that one works well. Like, it does its job well. But the cleaver is like, you have no lunge, and you are so slow to hit. Or like the baseball bat, which is like, you might as well just sit there and like, wiffle ball. So, it's a wiffle bat half the time.
It's funny when I melee somebody, but it pisses me off when I get meleeed, because I'm shooting. I know I'm a fucking hypocrite, right? Like, I guess the thing is like, for me, why I don't really care for this part of it is because if I'm shooting you in the face, you should not be able to lunge through that and stab me. Like that, I don't like that. Like, that's what bugs me. Like, if we're fighting and you're trying to lunge at me and I'm shooting you in your face with either an AR, an SMG, or even a pistol, like, come on, man.
But it's like, let's see here. I thought they mentioned the melee adjustments. Maybe it was just in multiplayer that they changed it, but they increased like the rate of swing on the 2 hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe that's just on multiplayer. But anyway, like, it's again putting guns in the game that don't do any good, right? Like, they have that new mod 4 sniper rifle. Have you tried to use that piece of crap?
AMR mod 4
in Warzone?
Yeah, we talked about this. It's fucking terrible. I used it for half a match and I've not touched it since.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're going to put it in the game, make it worth it.
At least make it
viable.
decent, right? Like, it doesn't have to be OP. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, like with the semi-auto sniper rifles, because those can be a fucking problem, right? Like, if you can two-tap somebody in about a second, you know what I mean? Like, that can be an issue. But don't make
like
it
the
to
Signal
where
50, like the Signal 50 was an issue because, you know, it had, you could build it with very little recoil and a very high bullet velocity.
Yep.
And so, you know, you could stay on target, think, right? And
yeah,
it was
no,
like,
I used the Signal 50 a lot.
And so it was kind of like, all right, I understand the point of, you know, I understand the risk that brings to the balance of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But to make a sniper rifle be like a 4-hit sniper rifle, like it's a 50 cal. Like you put a 50 cal in the game and you can't kill anybody with it. Like I have literally hit like 5 shots on someone, and because they were running through cover, right? Like they got away. Like I hit them 5 times with a sniper rifle and they got away. Like at the end of the day, like that should never happen. Like if I am hitting you with a sniper rifle, I don't care if it's semi-auto or not, it should never happen. And so the solution, like the correct solution to that, to be honest, is probably a 2-shot high recoil, you know, with a 1-shot headshot. Like the recoil on that gun is massive. All right. I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Or just
like
slow the fire rate down just a little bit.
Yeah. But like you tap somebody with 1 shot, like if you have a sniper rifle, it should 1 shot to the head. Like period, end of story. It should.
The car's a piece of shit now, dude. Have you used that? I picked one up the other day. I was getting fucking hit markers with it. It's terrible. And I wasn't even that far out.
The Dragunov?
No, the Car 98 from the last game.
Oh yeah.
Somebody had that. Like, that gun is fucking terrible. Like, it's not good.
Rebirth, I think it's still popular on Rebirth because it's, you know, the engagement distances are shorter.
Yeah, but I wasn't far away. I was literally 1, maybe 2 buildings, like, over in, like, Lowtown area away, getting hit markers with that shit. Like, it's not good.
Well, it still is a 1 shot to the head within range, right?
Maybe I wasn't hitting head.
Maybe you were hitting, yeah. I mean, it's also too, like if you hit, you know, it's like depending on where they are, you can get an arm shot with those things, like a limb shot, and it's like it's not a good experience. But you know, the semi-autos are they're just bad, right? Like they are just not good. Neither of them. The Dragunov is terrible too. And it's like, why put them in Warzone? Like if you're not going to make them usable, just don't put them in Warzone. And I wish they would do that more. I wish they would be a little more judicial with what they put it, you know, what they bring over to Warzone, where it's like, I would rather have fewer. I know some people are obsessed with like, there's got to be 8 million guns in the game, and if there's not 8 million guns in the game is trash, right?
Well, you can't use 8. You can't use them
all. There's only
anyway.
5 of them you can pick from anyway, so why bother?
Exactly.
Right? Like I would rather them bring over like the top guns of each class,
3 or 4 guns out of each class, and that's it.
Yeah, and
Make
then
it simple and easy,
and then dump off the bot. You know, the year before's game. Like if you want to, and have it where it's like, all right, you know, I don't know. It's
introduce
like,
1 from each class every season. You know, something like that.
Yeah, or just make them all usable. Right?
Yeah.
Make it so I don't have to just, you know, I can use one or the other.
Dude, the LR762 is still my favorite sniper in this game right now. Did you see that clip I posted the other day where I got down? I was downed and I think I got revived, and then I sniped that dude through the crack in the solar panel.
I don't.
Yeah, it was kind of disgusting, but like I'm enjoying sniping overall in this game. I like to snipe. I mean, I like to run and gun with like Money and King and those guys too. But sniping is I do actually enjoy the sniping part of it too.
I do too. I think that the I think the best aspect of sniping is when you have like the high precision, and they've done a good job with that right now, where like what's it called? You have you have a lot of bolt action guns that are fun. The LR762 is it's a great. It's how every sniper rifle should feel. To be honest,
to me, it's the best one since probably the Swiss K31.
Yeah, it's great. I am enjoying it when I pick it up. Like even the ground loot. Like if you pick up the five attachment ground loot.
Yeah,
I got no. It's got a good optic on it. It hits like a truck. It's very accurate. Like I enjoy that gun, and I have an 8 attachment build that I really enjoy that gun, and I've done some dirty things with it.
The blue is if you look at the ground loot though, like the blue, the purple, and the orange, those are all viable. Like if I pick up those, sometimes I'll just get my primary out of Lodi and I'll just run.
If I have that rifle, as long as it's not like I don't think they even have a base rifle. I think the blue is still. They have a green attachments. One. They have a green one.
Yeah, and I think it only has like a couple of attachments or one attachment or whatever. I don't even know the color code of that shit. I don't care. I just know that blue is better than green, purple's better than blue, and orange is better than that, and red is better than fucking all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And but I've been enjoying it, right? It's been good.
Yeah.
And it's a good rifle. It's good. It's fun to pick up. It's fun to run. And yeah, like you said, like if I pick that up, I'm picking up my 8 attachment Cypher as sniper support. I'm just running that until I come across another buy station when I've got extra cash and swap it out for my 8 attachment. Like I have no reason. Every other gun, I'm probably gonna go for loadout or something. But like that one, like it's great, and it's because they made the gun good. Imagine if they made the intervention not suck. How much fun we would have had with that.
The two biggest fucking fails this Warzone has had over the last 3 years. But yeah, I agree with you on the intervention. That had a decent fire rate too.
It was in multiplayer. The intervention was a blast. I had so much fun with that in multiplayer. In Warzone, it was mid, and it was because of their philosophy with sniping at the time. We're gonna make you use this attachment that takes your bullet velocity down to like 12, and then you have if you want to shoot somebody beyond like 15 feet, you have to just aim at the sky and like hope it lands on them.
Do you remember that computer game back in the day when we were in school and you'd get to be able to be on the computer for like 30 minutes, and it was like the tanks on each side where like you shoot over and then they would return. That's how fucking sniping was for a while in this goddamn game.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was not good.
I miss bullet velocities in like, early Caldera, late Cold War, where you got like 1800.
Yeah, what's the max now? What's I think 1100 that I've seen.
12, something like that.
Yeah,
it's just not good.
I'm curious.
It's not good. I don't know why. I don't know why we are just fighting to get to like the baseline again. It's like we're fighting these changes that nobody asked for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I take it back. A lot of people asked for the sniping changes because snipers were a little OP for a while. But for the most part, like we're just saddled with changes that nobody's asked for. Why? Revert them all.
No, hopefully we'll get back on the right track. Again, the game's decent to me right now. I know it might not be for some. I am kind of bored of Urzikstan, but at the same time, I really don't have any other options because I don't want to play Resurgence. So it is what it is. If I want to play something that's titled to BR, I got to play that.
Yep. It's been, I don't know. It is a position that it's in. It's way more playable than it was at launch. So they are moving forward. They're moving the chains forward.
Yep.
But they still haven't hit a touchdown yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, otherwise it's been kind of like, we're at the point where we are at the point where usually we don't see this until this is like how the last season or so of it of the game is, where it's like everybody's so tired and bored of it, they're just like eating each other alive on the timeline just because there's nothing else to do. I feel like we've hit that early.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that we see on the timeline is not just because people are bored, but it has been nice. I think I'm like 4 or 5 weeks in where there's been fucking drama on the timeline, and I'm not
you
a part
haven't
of
started
any of it.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm just minding my business, man.
Reformed. You're reformed. Not really. You just haven't gotten involved.
I guess people hadn't really fucked with me yet, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's so it's fun. But you know, we're in the final what?
28 days, 25?
25 days, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Because there's what, 28 days in February. So it's 26 days, I guess. 25.
What fucking
25.
25
right days.
Now. All right.
Should be 25 days. Unless, you know, they're going to screw the pooch again. But, you know, there are Verdansk files.
Yeah, saw that.
In the game. So, you know, any question about whether it was coming soon is out the door. It's on its way. You know, I'll say the only thing that they could do that would surprise me is if they dropped it on the 10th on the anniversary, just as like a hey, gotcha.
Dude, so I ended up on my Twitch page on my phone today, and I was kind of scrolling through, just looking at some of the clips. I wanted to see if there were any from last night, and I ended up going down into like some old school like Verdansk clips. But you know what stood out to me the most about the clips from Warzone 2, comparatively speaking, was the brightness of the map compared to what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one is like kind of drab and dreary almost, and like Almazwa was like, even though it's fucking dirt and sand and everything, it was still like it popped. Like,
well, yeah, the sun was like,
yeah,
bright.
Yeah, it was bright as hell. But anyway,
yeah, of course, that was always frustrating when it was like you're in a building and like you go outside and it's like you're blinded for a second by the game, or like you go, or like you're outside and you go into the building and it's like it goes, you know, the buildings were dark. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. They love the realism on that, which, you know, it's a trade-off.
I still think for as far as lighting goes, I think that the Gulag should be the brightest fucking spot on the map. You should be able to fucking see literally everything. Because you know how many times I get in there, dude, and depending on what skin somebody's wearing, I can't fucking see them. That's dumb as shit.
Yeah, I think the Gulag should be brighter. What was the Gulag? There was one that was pretty bright, if you remember. That one in Al-Mazrah that had like, it was like the concrete alleyway or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bright one.
Yeah,
that was bright. That was nice.
Yes,
the map
nice to be able to
sucked,
see.
But yeah, the actual Gulag sucked, but map was nice. But yeah, no, it's, you know, Reloaded is here. We're on the countdown to Verdansk. We're almost done with this era. So hopefully we enter a new era, you know, and hopefully all of the problems are just due to the fact that they are waiting for Verdansk. That's our hope and our dream.
Fingers crossed, my dude.
But with that, I'm gonna let you all go. Appreciate you all coming in. Thanks for listening through. We're gonna catch you on the next one. I can't actually quit this out. Hold on.
Been one of them fucking days.
It has been one of those days. Like my mouse is disappearing on the damn screen, so I got it.